Welcome to the goddamn podcast. With us at this time is none other than Hayes Capone,
Let's go.
our very first Fight Fan Seg here in the cave on location shooting. Thank you again, Hayes, for letting us come through.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming through.
You already know, man. So we're going to be talking about UFC 304. We're going to make our picks. We're also going to, see who we decide to put our money on these bouts. Big money bouts right now. UFC 304, Manchester. Don't miss it. Leon Edwards will defend his world title. So will Tom Aspinall. It's in Manchester, England. This is going to be one of those events that blows through. I am a little upset, though, that they started the card on American time and not UK time.
It's a little confusing.
It's a little retarded because, granted, the UK fans, their pay-per-view structure is different than ours.
Yeah.
So it's not the same. But, it's in their home and their home fighters. To think that the main event's going to start about 4 or 5 in the morning it's a little insane.
Our time?
Their time.
Wow. Okay.
So it's going to be the same our time. It'll be
Look
10
at me.
p.m.
Already getting confused, so.
It's confusing for the fans too, But first off, let's go to the early prelim bouts. One of the really good fights that we're expecting to see. Muhammad Mokaev representing England. I don't know what his roots are. I want to say he's either Pakistani or Palestinian, but he was raised in England. He's fighting 12-0 against Manel Kape. Manel Kape is 19-6, but somehow the plus 125 underdog, and I'm not sure where those numbers came from.
I mean, it's coming from somewhere, though. I'm on the same boat to think that he's got the more experience and he's still the underdog. But, hey, they're telling us something, right?
They definitely are. What they're telling us is that they believe that Mokaev, being that 12-0 guy with so much experience from Gamma, maybe the Gamma experience is what they're looking at, playing into it. For me, I just think that Manel Kape has too much, what's the word? Not just the experience, but I think he's been in such hard fights that having those 6 losses, you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. And I think that's going to play dividends to him. But if we're looking at the tail of the tape, we've got Mokaev at 5'7", with Manel Kape at 5'5". They're both the same weight. Mokaev is 7 years younger, has 2 inches in reach, fights orthodox. Meanwhile, Kape fights southpaw. And it looks like significant strikes landed per minute. Manel Kape has about 4 points on him. The significant strike accuracy, however, does lean in favor of Mokaev, which makes sense. If you throw less punches, you probably land them more often. At 72% to 55%. And then, of course, the takedown accuracy also is on Mokaev's side, but not by much, at 41.79% to 37.5%. But it looks like the submission average is higher, of course, for Mokaev, who is a submission specialist and a grappling specialist.
Yeah. Hey, man, I mean, I see some good numbers. Again, confused as to why he would be the underdog for a Kape. But, 12-5-7 gang, I'm going to stick with Muhammad on this one. I'm thinking he might take it, especially coming from Gamma. You got some of the best out of the best coming from everywhere to fight in that competition. So let's see what happens,
I feel you. Moving on to the next fight. We got Jake Hadley, Callan Loughran. I can't say that brother's name. Sorry. I got to tell the Irish fans, y'all have some fucking names. Saorise is Shorsha. I don't know where the fuck y'all got that from, but I'm going to respect it. With Hadley being from England, he's being put as a plus 175 underdog, which is surprising. They've got, 10-3 versus 9-1. You would think Hadley has it, but I believe Hadley's moving up from 25 to 35. He's got 1 year in age advantage because he's a year younger. He's got a 2-inch reach advantage. He's a southpaw. But I will say the takedown average is on Loughran's side from Ireland. The 5'7" versus 5'6" fighter. What do you think?
I mean, I think if, we're sticking with Loughran.
I'm going to go with Hadley.
Okay. As far as the takedown, average, Loughran looks like if he fights a ground game, takes him down and does what he has to do, I think the fight's going to be on his side. But he's got to take him down, though.
Yeah, which is crazy because the significant strike landed per minute actually is higher. He's got 6.27 strikes landed per minute as opposed to Jake Hadley, who's 3.36. The striking accuracy is about the same, so he puts out double the output damn near, which is surprising to me. But again, an English fighter in England, that shit is it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to fight those guys. especially at home. When you have the at-home advantage is when usually, for the fans that have never seen a fight with a fighter at home, makes it completely different.
I'm sure.
It makes it so that the crowd is not just against you, because that pressure is a lot of pressure, but it also has pressure for the fighter who's from there, because if you lose and fucking home, it's devastating. So it's got like kind of a double-edged sword effect to it. But I do feel like it is much more terrifying to go fight a guy at home, because the fans will give him that extra pep when he's exhausted.
Yeah.
You will never get that.
I mean, it's an adrenaline, right? But as long as he keeps him down with the takedown advantage, he's got the significant strikes. So take him down and strike significantly. You'll got it.
Yeah, I think with the ground and pound, he could definitely do it. I don't see many submissions on his background, but Loughran could definitely take it. Up next on the actual main card, Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. Chikadze's coming up at a plus 200 underdog. The Georgian versus the Englishman. The Englishman is 5'8". The Georgian is 6 foot tall. They are fighting at 145 and 146. So they make the weight easily, I'm guessing. But one is 30, one's 35. Arnold Allen, 5 years the younger. But Giga Chikadze is not only that much taller than him, he's also 4 inches in reach. And he's also an orthodox, while Arnold is a southpaw. The difference is primarily the takedown accuracy. Arnold Allen has a 50% takedown accuracy versus 33.33% for Giga Chikadze. But Giga Chikadze is primarily a striker. He's got a long history kickboxing, and he's a long-rangey dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's long rangey. I mean, 6 feet. His legs are long like a... But, yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It will be a tough one. I mean, it looks like Chikadze is going to take it. In my opinion, he is the underdog, but I feel like he might take it.
I think it could go either way. It's such a pick-em fight, but I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. I think that the Englishmen, again, once they're home, they have this weird energy with their peoples. And I also think that his coaches, that they understand. Takedown average is higher. He's a better ground fighter. So if I'm Arnold Allen, I make Giga feel comfortable enough to throw a kick and then take his ass down and ground and pound him to death until I find a submission.
I can see that, though. I mean, at a 50% takedown accuracy, and he's got to take him down. But, of course, when you compare the numbers, it looks like when it comes down to the ground and pound, he might have him.
Yeah.
I just think he's got longer legs, a longer reach. If they stay on their feet, maybe Chikadze's got a better outcome.
Yeah, and we know that the Giga's main kick, the Giga kick itself, is the kick to the body. But I don't know that he could land that against a guy like Arnold Allen, who's so well-versed on the ground. Typically, you want to avoid kicks when you got a wrestler in front of you. So maybe that takes a little bit off his mind, or maybe he just feints like he's going to throw kicks to see if Arnold Allen reacts to it first. Really, this could play out a number of ways, but for me, I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. Who do you got in this fight?
Let's see if Giga could take it, though.
All right, respectfully. All right, this is a good one. CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, 6'2", 186, 29 years young, 79-inch reach, which is crazy. Switch stance fighter. Significant strike accuracies, over 65%. Takedown accuracy, very low. So he doesn't have a lot of ground game against RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez, who's actually the underdog at the plus 125. Rodriguez has about 5 or 6 more fights than CLD. But again, this is a home advantage for him. I believe he is 3 years younger, and he's got 4 inches in reach advantage, which is really freaking huge.
Yeah.
And then the difference comes for them is the ground. The takedown accuracy percentage is extremely high. It highly favors Gregory Rodriguez from Brazil, training out at Killcliff FC, down with Henry Hoof. So he's got Coach G. Jones, and he's got a bunch of people on that team that can definitely help him. He's got Gilbert Burns. So I feel like as long as Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, turns this into a ground game type of rules match, or even just threatens it, takes him down at some point in the round, gets it in his head that, like, I can do this when I want, beats him up a little bit, and then lets him back up. I do think that with the switch stance, it's worrisome because, when you have a fighter that can switch stances, they typically switch stances in between combos.
Yep.
But then you have the other side of that equation is Gregory Rodriguez is not a punk. RoboCop knocks motherfuckers out.
I mean, the switch stance is a little crazy, right? I mean, Brazilian fighters, they've proven themselves time in and time out. I don't think it matters for Brazilian fighters whether they home or away. If he takes it to the ground, he's the more experienced fighter on the ground as far as submissions. And, I mean, you can submit anybody from anywhere, but taking him down, beating him up, and taking that energy out of him and letting him back up, like you said, it'll probably play a factor in that, though. I really don't think the home court advantage is going to do anything to Brazilians. So let's see.
You do got a point. They were fighting in Japan for years, destroying everybody. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's part of their makeup. But looking at it from the perspective of the fight fan, who's looking at this for maybe not just, fanfare, but basically if you're doing a bet, who would you put your money on? Because with the 125 underdog being RoboCop, surprisingly, do you think that it's a good idea to bet on this particular fight? Would this be the underdog fight that you would pick and stamp? This is the underdog one that you think could definitely change the tide.
That's a good question. I think that it is close in experience in a sense when you look at the records, but if you want more bang for your buck, you probably would go with RoboCop, and we call it the pray and spray, and hopefully he takes the match.
Right, the pray and spray.
I'd probably go with RoboCop on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with RoboCop as well. I don't think he's gonna knock him out. I do think he could TKO him or ground and pound and win that way. But Lord knows, RoboCop had a gash in his head like this big. They were trying to stop the fight. He kept it going, and the next thing you know, the end of the round, when he's losing, he's down 2 rounds. That third round, he hits Homeboy, and Homeboy goes to fucking sleep. So there's always that thing. There are some guys that they just have power. You're either born without it or doomed to never have it, to be real with you.
I mean, technique always beats power, but power's not something to play with, so...
Yeah. In the words of Mike Tyson, power, speed kills and power thrills, something to that effect.
Yeah. And then he also said, wasn't it, everyone's got a game plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? So.
Yeah. Once you get punched in your fucking face, that game plan goes right. What were we going to do, coach? I don't remember, nigga. He hit me. That's all I remember. He hit me, and I was like ready to kill him. That's all you think of at that point. But definitely we're going to go with our Killcliff compatriot, Gregory Rodriguez. As always, we do fuck with heavily the Killcliff team. They come down to Legends Martial Arts to our team, and then, Henry Hoof does teach a lot. A lot of the stuff that he's teaching in his gym, we're learning in our gym. So if you're in New York, come up to Briarcliff Manor, come train at Legends. We do have a phenomenal fucking floor and a great coaching staff that will absolutely help you out. But I'm going to go with the guy who's, closest thing to a teammate on this card for me. All the Killcliff fighters always get my vote. So I am biased, and I will tell you that I'm fucking biased. I'm not going to bullshit it. Same thing with the Dominicans, We don't root against Dominicans around here, all right?
Yellow cat.
All right, now this is a fucking fun one. So in between the odds, they have it at minus 115 and minus 105. Bobby King Green, King Green now, formerly known as Bobby King Green, versus Paddy the Baddy. Paddy the Baddy's getting his signature orange trunks. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. It's going to bring him back to his Cage Warriors days. But they're both 5'10". They are the same weight. I think Paddy's 8 years younger. He has a 2-inch reach advantage. And aside from that, he doesn't really have any other advantages. Significant strikes landed per minute. Bobby Green's got that advantage. Significant strike accuracy. Actually, Paddy has a 4% more, but he also throws less. Takedown average. Paddy's losing that one because King Green is a wrestler. And, we've seen him out-wrestle some of the best wrestlers and grapplers in MMA. I think Islam is like a different human being because he was able to take Bobby down so easily. That's usually quite the feat. And then submission average is where Paddy's definitely like the better fighter as far as statistics. But Bobby Green also has 50 fights. Paddy the Baddy only has 24. So we're looking at half the experience. For me, the American will always win. It's this close to July 4th, and I don't think the British are coming. They sure as shit ain't winning. Respectfully, of course.
Well, let's see. I mean, Paddy the Baddy's always a fun guy to watch fight. I think I might go with you on this one. The Americans win, half the experience. Sorry, Paddy, if you're looking at this. But it's interesting to see that he's got a higher submission, rating on that.
I mean, Bobby King Ring doesn't have that many subs, and usually when he takes a guy down to the ground, it's not to submit him. It's usually to beat the shit out of him while he's on the ground.
Correct.
You know, back in those Strikeforce days when you used to watch Bobby Green wrestle, you know, he's so weird to. I don't know how you prepare for him because his hands are always down by his sides. He doesn't have
like
a high
a Roy
guard.
Jones
Yeah.
yeah.
Almost, he reminds me of like MVP, but with wrestling. That's what he reminds me of.
Yeah.
Because he keeps his hands down here and he doesn't bounce. He's very calm. He boxes. He moves his head really well. This is going to be a good fight overall. I don't know. Maybe the Cage Warrior days come back to Paddy the Baddy, when he used to be a finisher, when he used to fight in 2 weight classes and be a bad motherfucker. Maybe he comes back to those days and decides to show up and show out with those orange shorts. But, you know, he just had twins, and he's been off for like a year, I think.
Nice
I want to say he's about 10 months out. And then the other thing that we do have to discuss is his eating habits. I'm not against the way he eats. I just think that it's really scary that he gets so heavy and then he cuts.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, you said it. There's a big age difference on that, right? So a good almost a decade of an age difference. However, the older fighters got 2 times his fight experience. But hey, if he can manage his eating habits and cut weight and still fight, why not? You know, 10 months is a lot, but not a lot when you're that young.
There is some truth to that, but I mean, he's 29. It's not. How much longer can he do this, though?
Yeah, I mean, he's about to hit 30, so you are right about that. Yeah, 29 to 30-something, almost a decade of difference. But, yeah, he's damn near in his 30s.
Right.
I know I can't. Shit, I'd take a few beers back. The next day I'm all fucked up, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have a terrible eating habit. I mean, I'm 2 inches shorter than Patty, and I think I get about as heavy as he does. And, you know, but even though I'm 29, we're the same age. Cutting that kind of weight, like if you called me and told me in 6 months to fight at 55, I'd be like, you can eat a dick.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I can understand that. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's
a big
and
difference.
that's a lot of stress on the body. Like I also don't know. I don't know if he just figured some shit out that we don't know, because you know wrestlers cut a lot of weight, but in my family, 30 pounds is a good weight cut. Like that's a serious weight cut. Anything over 30 pounds is like it's almost sacrilegious to do. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You trying to kill yourself?
It does affect the power, in my opinion. You know, like your power goes a bit. A lot of other things. So
yeah, the cardio, and then you know people forget that your brain is the first one to lose the liquids and the last one to get it. So will he be able to take those shots? Because Bobby Green is in shape year round. I don't think he goes over $175 ever, so he can make weight easy.
Don't forget his name is King. So
Excuse me, King Green. I'm sorry, Bobby. My man, you know he changed his name on me. I'm so used to being Bobby King Green. He's been Bobby King Green to me since the fucking Strikeforce days, like almost a decade now. I've been watching the dude. So it's a little like, oh shit, this is crazy. But I mean, it's not completely out of the world. You know, he's gonna show up in his Jackson chains and represent and do this thing. But also, I don't think King Green has ever competed in the UK, so I don't know if that's also going to be a little different for him.
Could be different. Should be okay. I think he might. I mean, after hearing you speak and now break it down to me, he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
Yeah. 50 fights in, he knows what he's doing. What is that? Excuse me. 32-15, that's 47?
I mean,
48
fights.
It's 50 fights.
That's girl math. That's what they call that, girl math.
Round up to the next number just to be upset. Oh, shit. All right, this is a good one. Co-main event, Tommy Aspinall, 14-3 versus 18-4, Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, the American, is at a plus 290. They really match up extremely well. The thing about heavyweights, though, the difference in size for these fucking people is just insane. Tommy Aspinall is 261. Curtis Blades only 257. 6'5" versus 6'4". Tom Aspinall is 2 years younger, has 2-inch. Oh no, Curtis Blades has the 2-inch reach advantage. They fight about the same stance. However, the output is a lot higher for Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall 7.72 significant strikes per minute, contrary to Curtis Blades 3.5. 68 significant. The strike accuracy is 68% to 60%. The takedown accuracy is also very high for both of these men. 3.46 takedown average versus a 5.72. A takedown accuracy for Tom Aspinall is at 100%. contrary to Curtis Blades, 53.45%. But sometimes I will say, despite the takedown accuracy showing those numbers, Curtis Blades was a wrestler in college. He did get his degree. I think he's getting like his PhD currently. Fucking guy's a genius. But Curtis Blades, that size difference isn't a big difference at all. They're about an inch in height difference, maybe 5 pounds difference between them. And if you look at the striking, it definitely favors Tom. And on the ground, Tom is not a slouch, but we have to keep it a buck. Curtis Blade is the better wrestler. So he has higher takedowns per round per average. His takedown accuracy not might be that high, but that means he's just shooting and then reshooting and then reshooting and then reshooting.
Yep. I mean, the only way to miss is by taking takedowns back to back, right? So,
right.
I mean, at 100% takedown accuracy is still debatable.
But the submission average, Curtis Blade has never submitted anyone. He's knocking people out now, which is something he didn't do before. But Tom Aspinall's at 1.73 average, so he does submit people. I mean, his dad is one of the first black belts in England. So, he comes from a lineage of striking and jiu-jitsu. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. He's been training since he was like 6 or 7 years old. So he's very well prepared for this. But at the same hand, we can't overlook Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, 22 fights as a pro. He wrestled in college, which people don't understand. College wrestlers are made different. Collegiate wrestlers at that level are fucking different from everyone else.
Yeah. I can understand. I mean, high school wrestler myself, college wrestling is very different. Very different. So if he did good then, he should be good in this fight.
Yeah, I feel like the ground kind of favors Curtis to some degree, but again, like I said, Tom Aspinall, not a slouch on the ground. Like I said, his father, jiu-jitsu black belt, one of the first jiu-jitsu black belts in England. So he's been training BJJ basically all his life. So even if he's off his back, he's not completely in trouble. But after what we saw Curtis Blades do to Jailton Almeida, the Brazilian, I remember Jailton was trying to take Curtis down, and Curtis was elbowing him. Not the 12-6, but like that little weird angle.
Yeah.
Kind of like
damn near it, though. It's close.
Yeah, but as long as it doesn't go directly down, it can be angled in any way. Yeah. It's fine. But Curtis Blades knocked him unconscious because everyone thinks that, if I wrestle him, I'm going to win. That doesn't work. And in their first fight, we don't really know because it was only 15 seconds long. Unfortunately, that freak accident, poor Tom Aspinall, his leg just buckled and his knee went out of place.
That'll do it to you. That's for sure.
But do you think it'll play a psychological effect on him?
He's definitely going to be careful with that leg or that knee. But, I mean, look at I think he should be all right. It should be all right. It can play a... It has for other fighters, though. You break a bone, you try to be careful with that. So it can... If he can overlook that, I think he'll do pretty good. It'll be a good performance.
Yeah, he seemed to have taken the rehab really seriously because it took him about a year to come back, and he took his time. Very smart. And then he came back against Tabora and ran through Tabora. It looked like a fucking train. He looked better, like a Mack truck. Yeah. And Tabora's a big buy, by the way. Anyone who's never seen marching Tabora, go ahead and say that shit to his face. Be like, hey, you're small. Like, go fuck yourself. He'll knock you the fuck out. The guy's a demon.
He did look comfortable in that fight, that's for sure.
And then the Pavlovich, the knockout. I didn't expect that. What, like 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Holy shit. He hit him so hard. And he said, I wasn't even throwing hard. I was just trying to touch him just to get, range. And he said, I touched him? Tack, tack. And then nigga said, whoops. And he said, oh, hell no, I'm jumping on that one. Placata. Yo, man, that's scary. I got Tommy Aspinall on this fight. Usually, I would root for the American, and it's not that Curtis Blades isn't. It's not like Curtis Blades completely out of this fight. This is really like a pick'em. This is a 50-50. Fuck what the odds have to say. At plus 290 is a little disrespectful. That puts him at what? A 3-2 underdog? That's bullshit. That's not accurate at all of what we're looking at this particular fight.
I'm going to have to go with you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think he gets it done?
He might just get it done the same way. Maybe he surprises us with a knockout. It's going to be a tough one. I do think there's going to be some takedowns going on. I want to say a knockout, sorry. A
knockout's a good one. I would say either a knockout. I don't see him submitting Curtis Blades, though, because once you go to the ground with Curtis Blades, that's a tough one, man. I wouldn't take that to the ground. I'd I would stay standing up, and a lot of sprawling and brawling, as they would say back in the day. sprawl, brawl, get back up, start fucking fighting again. He's definitely got the advantage in the striking department, but again, not a slouch. Curtis Blade can knock a motherfucker out. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
That's the thing about heavyweight, though. I think heavyweights, the minute they hit each other, anything that happens, even the slightest miscalculation at heavyweight, I feel like you could just get touched by a dude that has pillow hands and the motherfucker knock you the fuck out.
It's the weight though. It's almost. I mean, with heavyweights, you don't see this ground and pound all the time. You know, like they do fall, and if you fall on your back, most of the time you're not a slouch, but it's hard for you to get out of there. It's almost like a turtle, right? So, yeah, it's a knockout in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got it the same way in that opinion because of the way that things are playing out lately, the way that their last fights have been looking. But again, for those of you at home, don't count this fight out. Don't fucking blink because this can end very quickly on either end of this, you know. But I do feel like I have more respect for Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades than I do for John Jones.
Yeah, a lot more serious fighters. They've taken a lot of other things seriously. I mean, we don't even have to get into the fight aspect of it all. It's just John Jones, you had to get your act together. I'm sorry. Bad boy out the ring. I mean, such a talented fighter. I can't believe that. Just stay in the octagon. You'll be okay.
Yeah, for me, I think John lost my respect after the second PED allegation where he tested positive a second time. The first time I could have been like, okay, tainted supplement. It happens. But after the second one, I was like, this guy doesn't fucking respect the sport. And he lost my respect as a pound-for-pound guy. I don't have him in my pound-for-pound. Once you take anything to enhance yourself, you cannot be at the top of the crop, in my opinion.
I mean, he took stuff to enhance himself, and he had a lot of issues out of the sport. It's crazy. No respect. But I feel like he got just way too comfortable at being the best, and he lost respect for the sport. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think. What do you think? Do you think he's gonna try to fight Stipe and then run out?
He might. I feel like he's got another fight or two in him, and then he's gone.
I don't think he's gonna fight any of the guys at heavyweight, and I think the fact that he's trying to call out Poatan, I think he thinks is gonna go the same way he went with Cyril Gane. But to be real with you, Cyril Gane has no fucking ground. I mean, all John did was drop on top of him from sprawl, get him in a guillotine, and put him up against the cage, and that was it. I was like, "Are you?"
That's all he did. I feel like it's more of a publicity stunt. Who knows? I mean, maybe John needs some more money. I don't know.
I don't know how the guy can want more fucking money. He had a Gatorade and a Nike sponsorship simultaneously. He had more money than any other fighter in the world.
He's got a lot of bad habits, though.
Yeah, those habits are catching up. I mean, right now he's in court again because of, what was it? He threatened, like, the lady that was taking his urine sample.
Yeah.
What the fuck is his problem with women? Like, his baby mom was like 2 feet tall. What the fuck is this, John?
Yeah.
You know, that was sad. When I heard about that, I got upset. Like, I cried, like I teared up. Not because of her particularly, but like his daughters. That's got to be the roughest moment of your life as a kid when you first see your father do some shit like that, of all things.
Yeah. Nah, it definitely is. That's outrageous. And I got a daughter myself. I would never want to be in that position. I wouldn't put myself in that position.
Yeah, anyone with the fucking common sense or decency would never put themselves in that position. I heard his brother Chandler talk about how he and Arthur deal with him sometimes. And I have to say, I feel like his brothers have been always the ones to deal with the problem.
They have been. I think John is very lucky to have the support system he has with his siblings. Because if he didn't, I think he'd probably be in. I don't want to put anybody behind bars, but I think he would be in jail. Like, he wouldn't be anywhere where he is now if had it not been for his siblings. So
yeah, with John having that support system, he's lucky that that's the case. But based on what I've seen from his brothers, you know, they're starting to fucking get fed up. And then rightfully so. You're fucking 30-something years old. You've been at the top of the sport.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a damn shame that we have to have these conversations about a guy who right now, without the PED scandal, would be the greatest fighter that's ever lived.
He is the greatest fighter that's ever lived.
No, sir.
If it wasn't for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He is spoiled, you know, and he didn't even need to go through those things. For the fact that he doubted the talent and the skill that he has, it's incredible. He's proved it in and out, time and time again. He is the best there ever was or is. But I mean, to me, he's not now because of that.
Yeah, he can't get his head out of his own ass. It's like he can't get out of his own way. And the fact that he once admitted on Rogan that, like, I party and do blow and do all this shit a week before the fight, so that way if I lose, I have an excuse. Like, you need to build an excuse for yourself. You have the talent, my man.
Yeah. I've never seen him slack in the octagon, so why would you need an excuse? So.
I don't get it either. Speaking of some fantasy fights, do you think that he would do well against a person like Aspinall?
I think it'll be a good fight. Landslide, probably not. It'd be a close fight. I still do think that John Jones will win, though.
I actually have Aspinall because I think that the only area that John has a significant advantage is in the wrestling. Because of, he was a wrestler for a long time. He was a great collegiate wrestler, phenomenal. Whatchamacallit, junior college. He was like one of the best wrestlers in that program back in the time. But I think that the problem is that a guy like Aspinall has evolved. But the guy that everybody wants to see him fight, it's Poatan. Everybody wants to see him fight Alex. And I think that it's wishful thinking. But for me, in the perfect world, an ideal world, he would fight Aspinall. And if he loses, Aspinall would fight Poatan. Or if he beats Aspinall, then he would fight Poatan. And then that would be the fight for the greatest of all time.
I see what you're saying, and I think that John Jones owes us that. Like, if you want to redeem yourself, you need to go for the biggest and baddest fights there is. The biggest, baddest fights there is, and cut it out. That's it. And stop being spoiled. You're fucking spoiled.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Give your brothers a break.
And that and Dana. Dana also spoils him.
Yeah, he does.
Dana will be like in the middle of any conversation and bring up John Jones. Like, that's a meme now. That's what all the fans do. They're like, Dana, power slap is the best, but don't forget John Jones. Yo, son, every 5 fucking minutes he reminds you that John Jones is the baddest man on the planet. John Jones is the best. I'm like, listen, man, sing his fucking praises all you want, but if the kid can't get to the fight, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, let's start there. I mean, I get it, Dana. He's made a lot of money for you, and you put John Jones in the bag, Conor McGregor in the bag, and all these big fighters for you or whatever. I get the paycheck, but put him up against somebody that can fight and let him redeem himself. He needs that.
Yeah, he definitely does. All right, main event time. Ladies and gentlemen, for the welterweight title of the world, Leon Rocky Edwards versus Belal, remember the name, Muhammad. Well, more like remember the decision, and we barely remember that. Belal is currently an underdog at a plus 210, rightfully so. What the fuck he's thinking? They have him listed at 5'11". I don't think so. He's like 5'9", maybe 5'10" on a good day.
That's like me. I always say I'm like a tall 5'7" or whatever. So.
Well, you're the lord of the tall 5'7s.
Yeah,
You're the tallest of the tall
me.
5'7s. That's the tall 5'7" army. Just so you guys know, we want no problems. We're good. Peace. They have Leon listed at 6'2". They got Belal at 5'11". Again, not buying that shit. 170, they both make weight pretty easily. 36 versus 32. Leon is actually younger, which surprised me. I thought Belal was the younger fighter, to be honest with you. He's aging gracefully. Thank God for that. But he's at a disadvantage. 2 inches in reach and significant striking accuracy. But he's more active per minute. And it looks like takedown average. He's also got that advantage, which we expected. He's a great wrestler. But his takedown accuracy is only 1% higher than Leon's.
So it's going to make for a good fight. I mean, 4 years of a difference, 2 years of a reach difference. I mean, 2 years. 2 inches of a reach difference. Should be a good fight. I mean, 2 inches is 2 inches, though, right? So,
yeah. And then he's already 2 inches or 3 inches taller than him. So
So, I mean, even the legs are different. Yeah.
And I think the other thing, too, also take into account, Leon Edwards' ground game is far better than it was back then.
He's evolved.
And you saw it with the Kamaru fight, and even with the Kobe fight. What he did to Kobe, I was like, excuse me?
Was that like borderline disrespect or?
I don't know if it was disrespect. I don't know if Kobe, Kobe did also cross a lot of lines in the build-up. I get that he likes to, build hype, but there are certain things you don't say as a fighter, as a man. You say that shit to anybody, it's just over for you.
So you're saying he got what he deserved.
Yeah, he did. He fucking got what he deserved. He got his ass whooped, and you fucking deserve it, Kobe. You're a fucking cunt. And I said that shit with my whole chest. Kobe's like, what, 5'10", maybe 5'11", 190? I'm fucking shorter, but I'm 220-something. I still hit your ass. I'm not Masvidal, though. I ain't going to run up on you. I'm just going to hit you.
We're going to square up.
Yeah, we going to square up, son. You better shoot for your life. You better crotch sniff.
What would the Southpaw do to Orthodox in a fight this close, though? What do you think about that?
I think that the difference is the fact that Leon could switch stances. That's something that he does hide a lot. When he fought Kamaru, he would switch to Orthodox. Kamaru's smart because he knew, and he would switch with him. When he would switch to Orthodox, he would hit him, jump in, hit 2 or 3 combination shots, step out, then switch stances to keep his lead foot on the outside. It's something he does extremely well. And Bilal thinks that he hit Leon with something good. And he's like, oh, I took his best kick. Bro, you were wobbled. Don't fucking sit there like you ate it. You were doing the fucking Bambi dance. The fuck are you talking about? How you going Bambi? Yeah, exactly like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Mortal Kombat, like when they're waiting for the fatality. Yeah. So how the fuck you gonna think you took it? I took it so well. This is best shot. I think the problem is that remember the decision, Bilal Muhammad, his style is brutally boring to watch. And this is a world title fight, and you don't want brutally boring watch because you're going to put the fucking people to sleep, and people pay money for this. But the thing that I think is, again, it is a close fight, and I don't think Bilal is a bad fighter. I think he's a very intelligent fighter, and I'm, again, another college wrestler who has that real attention to detail on the ground. But what I think he lacks is killer instinct. He doesn't finish a fucking thing.
Yeah, he's like he initiates it and he doesn't explode in that sense. In my opinion, it's going to be a close fight, just even looking at the tail of the tape. But I think I'm going to have to agree with you on this one.
Yeah, I think Leon destroys him. I think Leon knocks him out in the third. I have a feeling like he's going to let Bilal think that he's doing something in the first round because that's what happened in the first fight. But then he's going to catch him at the end of the first round and hurt him. Similar to what Poatan did with Yuri.
Yep.
Let them ease themselves into a place where they get hurt and then they realize, oh shit, it's not as good as I thought it was. And then the second round, I think he's gonna take his fucking soul and crush him. But I think the third round, because Bilal is actually very tough, I'm not gonna take the toughness away from him. But he needs to watch his fucking mouth when he comes back up here. Because he says some shit about New York and PA, and we not cool with that.
No.
You could eat a dick.
Yeah.
But Bilal is a good fighter. Again, can he make it work for him? That's the hard part. Because what he's good at, Leon is good at countering.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Leon's going to make it his fight, to be honest. Bilal's going to have to fight Leon's fight to win, pretty much. And by that, I mean, it's just if Leon is good at what to counter Bilal with, he's gonna have to trick him, and it's gonna be a tough fight. It's gonna be close, and I wish him the best. I think I'm going with you on this one.
Yeah, I agree. The betting odds obviously favor him as well, but it's not without reason. People, you gotta understand that you're looking at the best welterweight at the current time, and a guy who has so much experience, who has fought the best. If he were ducking fights, I would say something else, but he's not ducking.
He's not.
Because he fought Kamaru. Kamaru is enough to, when you put that guy's name on your resume, that's the validity you want. And people that think that it's not true, look at who Kamaru beat while he was world champion. And another thing about the world champions I want to mention, is it just me or does it seem like there are a lot less title defenses now than when guys were champions in the last ever?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that has to do with, I hate to put it this way, but I think that's more of a business aspect of it all. We got to keep these fighters healthy and able to defend. So yeah, title defenses are a lot less now than what they were. I mean, in a lot of other sports like boxing and anything else. So
yeah, but I feel like with the UFC, Volk was the 45-pound champion, defended the belt hella times in a year.
Yeah, numerous.
And then we went to Izzy, and Izzy was defending the middleweight belt 2 to 3 times a year minimum.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Kamaru was defending the belt every 6 months. It felt like
Yep.
So then we got spoiled a little bit with these world champions. But that's typically what happens with MMA fans. And I have noticed it before. We get so spoiled with a reigning defending champion that when they're gone, then we're like, oh shit, we actually had it really good. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's definitely one way to put it. I didn't notice that. I mean, I noticed the
trend.
The trend. But now that you say, I mean, Izzy wasn't that long ago when you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And remember that after Izzy lost it, he took, 6 months? And then went back and knocked Poatan out. And then he went again and fought, Strickland?
Yeah.
Lost to Strickland. Which, great fight on Sean Strickland's behalf. I just think that Izzy was kind of out of it by then, though. He looked tired. Looked like it had taken his toll. Because I think
checked out.
I think Alex was the hardest fight for Izzy. Like, I think he put all his energy into that fight, and I respect him for doing it.
He fought. I mean, how many times did they actually fight, like in combat sports? Not only in the UFC, was it?
So they had the first 2 fights in kickboxing, in Glory, and Glory of Heroes. Which, to be fair, the first one I called it for Izzy. I watched the fight back. I called that first fight for Izzy. Don't know where the fuck these judges were.
Yeah.
The second fight, Poatan knocked him unconscious because Izzy fought a style that wasn't really his. No excuses, though. Poatan is one of the best fighters in the world.
Of course.
Third fight was in the UFC. Izzy gets TKO'd in the fourth. We were here watching it here at the cave on this couch. Pissed the fuck off because we had watched Izzy win for 4 fucking rounds. And then Poatan finishes him. And we were as mad as we were.
Remember that? That's crazy.
As mad as we were that Izzy lost, I think all of us were more impressed by how Alex came out in the 5th like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like he just started a whole new fight.
Right. Because those first 4 rounds, he was like, no count. Doesn't matter. And then everybody was shook. We were like, yo, this guy is a demon. Yeah. And that's back when you guys had the red and blue lights.
Yeah. I know. We still got them.
Oh, I can't see them.
That's I mean, tucked away. That's all. But we're going to have to bring them back out.
Definitely got to bring them back out. Tomorrow, you guys going to be, you're going to watch the fights here at the pay-per-view?
We're definitely watching the fights tomorrow.
I'm contemplating either watching it at home or coming through. But you'd because you guys, for those of you who have never been in the cave for a fight, this is like grand stage. Like they bring food, they bring snacks, there's weed, we smoke, we be chilling, there's bud. Everything is good here. This is a vibe.
Yeah.
And then they turn those lights on. So when the fights start, literally the lights go down and the red and blue lights, just like above the octagon, show up right here.
You can almost pick a side.
Fucking minds. We love it. It's the best. You'll see everybody screaming and yelling, and it's the best time ever. So you got to hit up this man right here if you ever want to come watch a fight here in YO at the cave. But yeah, we were watching the fight here, and I just remember how pissed we were that Izzy lost because I thought Izzy was going to win. Yeah. He already won 4 straight, and he almost knocked him out in the first.
He did, almost.
You saw Alex wobble a bit.
Yep.
And then that 5th fucking round, the great equalizer, he hit him so hard as he was trying to stand and see his feet at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then they had the 4th fight, which was the last one, and Izzy knocked him out. And that's the only one that he actually won officially. But I will say that was the most impressive win. That knockout was straight from hell. But it also, when Alex moved up to 205, how fucking huge is he?
He's big. I mean, not to backtrack, but I do think that Izzy, for a while in some of those fights when they fought, I feel like Izzy was very afraid. Not very afraid, but he's very cautious. Mm-hmm. And I can understand why. But I think that also hurt him in some of the fights, just, to be honest. But anyways, he's big now. Huge.
Yeah, he's walking around a little over 240, I believe. From what I heard up in Connecticut, some of his teammates were saying he's like 240, almost 250, and he cuts down to 205. And they're saying that he's too small for heavyweight, but like he walks around during camp at about 230. So if this is him in shape at 230, what the fuck? I want him to run it with Aspinall and get that 3rd belt and be the only guy to have 3 belts in 3 weight classes. Ooh. Because the only other fighter in the world that has 3 belts in 3 weight classes simultaneously, and all of MMA, is the brother from One, the big Russian cat.
What's his name?
I forget it too, man.
Nah, I know exactly who you're
talking
about.
And I follow him on Instagram. Like, I watch his stories. He's a nice human being ever. I don't know how he does it, but he's the middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight champion of one. He's got 3 titles in 3 weight classes and is the only MMA fighter ever to do it.
I mean, how do you even maintain those belts?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, like, are you fighting at 225 to make the heavyweight limit and then 205 and then 185? Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got to be you're a bad motherfucker, respectfully, of course. But, fuck, man, we're definitely in the era of, like, the champions don't want to defend. Also, another thing, Ilia Topuria tried to say that Max Holloway was afraid of him.
I think he's reaching.
Reaching?
Yeah, I think he's got a long arm. What do you think?
Long arm? That nigga's got like stilts on at this point. If he's trying to fucking pretend like, yo, come back down to earth.
Yeah.
There's no way that a guy like Max Holloway is afraid of Ilia Topuria.
No.
Ilia Topuria is not even a real Spaniard. The nigga's from Georgia and was raised in fucking Spain, and Georgia the country, not the fucking state.
No, it's very different. He's not a peach.
Right. And also, they make, well, we'll give the Georgians, they make the best wine on earth.
Okay.
I've had a lot of semi-sweet reds. I can't be knocking them for that.
Really? I got to try that, actually.
Yeah, H. Cork, he in Yonkers. Top of the crop.
Fire. Nice.
I get you on it with it. But the Georgian reaching, you know, Spaniard, him reaching to say that Max didn't want to sign the contract, Max didn't want to fight me. Sir, let's be real. Let's be 100% real. Max Holloway is not even afraid of death. I don't think he's fucking afraid of you.
I mean, did he watch one of these last fights where, like, Max was, like, fighting the Grim Reaper in the middle of the octagon? What was that?
The Justin Gaethje fight, when Max knocked out Justin, Ilya was sitting cage side. They panned to Ilya. He looked like he saw a fucking ghost.
So, yeah, I don't know what was going on. Either he saw a ghost or he was high, because I was watching it from here and I was afraid. So
that's what I'm saying. I don't think a guy that goes up a weight class and fights a guy like Justin Gaethje, which sucks because you love both those guys, he's not afraid of shit. That guy's not afraid of you. He's not even afraid of his wife. The videos that he does with his wife on IG. Oh my God, bro. Him and his wife arguing, and then they go like this in the middle of the living room. Yeah. I was dying. Right here. Yo, that became a whole meme. Sorry, we went on a rant, but we needed it.
Yeah.
Fuck that. All right, let's do lightning in a bottle. Just quick takes on this thing. Jake Paul, TKOs, Mike Perry in round 6. Oh, I wonder who saw that coming.
Was that script? No, let me stop.
I felt like it was, bro, because then they were on a podcast together and they seemed a little too buddy-buddy, and I'm like, come the fuck on now. Yeah. I'm not friends with nobody that fucks me up.
I mean, if you're passing somebody a big bag of money, then, you know.
Yeah, then they're fucking friends, of course. Yeah. But Mike Perry, he looked really small compared to Jake. Jake looks huge. He's also on like a shit ton of steroids.
Yes. I mean, you can do that when it's your fights.
Right, when you're the promoter, you put on the shows. But in that same breath, Amanda Serrano also was on the card, and she won representing Puerto Rico.
Which is great.
Perhaps one of the best products in Puerto Rico. I am mad that she strapped herself to that rocket ship named Jake Paul. The fact that that's where she put herself with.
I think that Jake is fighting to... You got to build a resume, right?
Right.
So I honestly, I don't know. I mean, you see these fighters and they fight and they have a game plan, right? Either they're going to be the champions of the world, they're really going to, you know, bring these fights in and do what they have to do, or they get their feet wet, because you can't go into an organization that has no experience, right? So as a good fighter, you try to fit in where you will shine the most and also have talent. Mm-hmm. So I honestly think that Jake is just doing this for to start up an organization of his own, which he is doing. I don't think he's fighting for the love of the sport. I think he's just fighting to have this on his record so he can start up an organization. I think that this is all that it is, to be honest.
You think he's pulling like a prima donna De La Hoya type of deal?
Yeah.
He's trying to De La Hoya it so he can be the face of the organization.
I think so.
Make the fights.
Yeah.
It's a good take, in my opinion. I think that makes more sense than what most people think, which is that he's just trying to, you know, clout chase the boxing world. I mean, he is already doing that.
Yeah.
And, you know, he did his own, his men's health care, like his, it was like a deodorant body wash type deal.
Yep.
With Sean O'Malley.
Yep.
So they're in cahoots with their businesses and shit. It's just, for me, I feel like, as a fan of Amanda Serrano is the only boxer from Puerto Rico to have that many titles and that many weight classes.
Yeah. almost like
And
a
she's the
Pacquiao.
only female to fight 3-round fights. I mean, 3-minute rounds in her fights. And she won 12 rounds. So she does these history-making events with this fucking dirtbag. Excuse my language. I have to say it. He is a dirtbag. He comes off as a dirtbag. He's not as big a dirtbag as his brother, but he is a dirtbag.
Yeah.
His brother's the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. Logan Paul is garbage. That's the most garbage human being if I've ever seen a garbage human being in my life. Fucking guy is a dirtbag. The Crypto Zoo thing. Now he's suing CoffeeZilla. We'll get off him because Jake is actually the better brother out of the two
Yeah,
of them.
he is. Jake is just. I think Logan is an entrepreneur. Got a few failed ventures in a sense, but I honestly, I think that Jake is just doing it for the business of it. I think Jake is gonna put together a solid organization, and it might bring boxing to where it needs to be. I think the boxing game has lost a lot, right? But I think Paul is trying to revive it. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it with his boxing skills and these pre-scripted fights. I'm sorry, Jake.
Yeah, no, that's definitely pre-scripted. I'm not going to apologize. This shit just seems fake. How the fuck is a guy that's been fighting this many years like Mike Perry lose to a guy like Jake Paul?
He's a bare-knuckle fighter, and yeah, whatever.
Former UFC fighter who was top-tier guy, top 10 talent. Top 15, but he was up there. I mean, decent amount of outcomes, and he fought some of the best fighters in the world with no fucking like pain and gain type deal. He was not afraid of shit, so I respected it. Everybody kept saying that Mike Perry's N-word pass was revoked. I started dying. I was like, not his nigga pass, man. Leave his nigga pass alone.
Give it back to him.
Word. It's like whatchamacallit, Chase from Instagram. That is his wifey's dad is always like taking it from him. He smacks him and he just takes it. He puts it in his back pocket. It's a Metro card, spray painted black. Fucking hilarious. But Conor McGregor, as always, making headlines because that's what Conor does. He fired Mike Perry over X at BKFC, stating, "Hey, Mike, you're released. You can go and do your fake boxing or dirty boxing championship thing. Good luck. You're fired."
Yeah.
That's a nasty way to tell somebody that. One, man with kids, he's got a wife and kids. That's not how you handle business. And I don't know that he has that kind of power. I know he's over at BKFC, Conor is, but I don't know if he has that kind of authoritarian, I don't think he has that kind of pull.
I mean, I don't. He might not have that kind of pull, but for you to make that statement public, I think that it might. That might have a pull to it. You know what I mean? Being that who he is and who he is in the bare knuckle, but getting fired over X, is that a thing?
I mean, it might be now in this generation. These motherfuckers are terrible now, man. I don't know.
What's that?
But I don't feel like BKFC president's gonna let him go because that's the guy that really did make the brand what it is today. Majority of BKFC success comes from Mike Perry. Mike Perry put a lot of work in. Guys like him, Hector Lombard.
Wow.
Fucking Luis Palomino. Those guys. Kendall Grove for a while. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. But Kendall Grove was, big fucking name that we thought was going to have more success. So I don't think he's going to fire him. But I do think that it'll be a while before he shows up at BKFC. It didn't help him, though, because he went on Jake Paul's podcast and they were a little too friendly. He gave him a chain with like a fist and Jake's head, and it's all amalgamated, and it's fucking weird.
That is weird. Maybe he doesn't get fired, but I think it'd definitely be good for publicity. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be the next ring entrance for Perry. Former this and that. Making his way after being fired and whatever. Let's see what happens, but
You think it's a publicity stunt?
it might. I mean. He was just upset about it and fired him. Who knows? I mean, Conor gets hot-headed all the time. I mean, from throwing chairs at buses and things like that. Who knows? But hey, notorious.
Yeah, Conor's known for fucking just going on Twitter, and I feel like whoever is in charge of his social media, he needs an administrator to shut him down because he says shit all the time, and you're like, shut the fuck up, bro. Yeah. You are a multi-millionaire. Do not fuck up the bag. What's wrong with you, nigga?
He's
you got
very
kids.
Close to that. I mean, he's been very close many times, right? He's a badass in the sport. Definitely a badass.
Yeah, I respect him for that. Shakur Stevenson gets a decision over Artem.
Oh my gosh.
The crowd leaves in the 10th, and I'm pretty sure the rest of them woke up later in the 11th.
Shakur.
He fought in Jersey at home, and it was a great reception when he walked out, and a great reception for the first 4 rounds. I promise you, I had it on in the background of my house, and I think around round 6, I forgot that it was on.
I don't blame you. He's very boring fighting. However, I will say this: he's a good fighter. He fights. He knows what he's doing, but there's no risk to it at all. It's like very, like textbook, very just.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think In the Ring with Christine, another podcast that we listened to, Coach Christine, formerly my boxing coach, Nika and Miss Crystal had spoken about how he's openly talked about how he has PTSD over the loss at the Olympics. Like, that loss really fucking haunts him.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, having a loss, especially in the Olympics and still making it to the pros, Yeah, I can see that.
But, I mean, I think he won the silver medal. Like, he didn't get gold. He got silver. A big fucking whoop. At least you won something.
Yeah.
Also, he was well recognized enough that, like, he put himself in a good position. But the fact that one loss is haunting him still, and it's been how many years now, and he's a fucking grown-up now. I mean, he's kind of grown up-ish, I can say.
Is it still a loss? Professionally, is it still a loss?
No, it's not a loss professionally at all. It was his amateur career. He finished it. He turned pro. But I will say that it's also been said by a lot of people that he has Terrence Bud Crawford in his corner and does not listen to Crawford.
How and why not? Like, you should.
So a lot of people are the idea is that he's being a spoiled fucking brat. Like, he thinks he's a know-it-all. He knows everything, and he does whatever he wants anyways. Or at least that's the narrative that's been shared multiple times now, is that we're not 100% sure that Shakur understands. You have the pound-for-pound number 2 consensus, maybe even number 1 boxer in the world, fighter potentially. He's sitting in your fucking corner. He's in the training room with you all the time. You should shut the fuck up and listen to that guy, because that guy is one of the greatest. You're not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
That's like having Canelo Alvarez sitting in the corner and him telling you faint and you don't faint. Fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, Shakur, if you're looking at this, I mean, I don't know how you got to where you got, but you got there. Let that loss go. Loosen up a little bit, because it doesn't matter how many times you fight and win. If it's not entertaining, we're not gonna watch it. Like,
yeah. There's definitely, you should fight a smart fight. I'm not against that, but when you're boring and you do that snooze fest shit, people complained about Mayweather, but at least Floyd was fun to watch. Floyd talk shit. He would taunt. He would get more aggressive as the fight continued.
Yeah,
he would do different things to get under guys' skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that the Andre Berto fight, when Andre Berto missed the fight, Andre Berto missed the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the shit like this. And then he goes, and then he's talking some shit. I forgot who it was. I think it was Andre Berto's niece. She was like, he missed a punch, and she was like, what are those? And then Andre Berto missed 4 or 5 shots, and then he pushed him out the way. He goes, no, what are those? Yeah. That's fun. That's fun to watch. As much as Floyd is not going to knock a guy out most of the time, he's fun to watch. He understands the value of that. Yeah. But Shakur, I don't know who's in his corner. No,
we know who's in his corner.
No, I'm saying, like, who's in his ear? Really?
No, of course. I was gonna say that we know who's in his corner, and I don't think he knows who's in his corner. He's got to listen to them.
Right, the people that he's listening to, not the right people. Respectfully. Yeah. Last but never least, speaking of Shakur, Gervonta Davis' team just named Shakur as the next opponent after the Loma fight. The fact that Lomachenko and Gervonta are gonna be fighting against each other already is like fucking peak joy in boxing.
Lomachenko, like, that's, yeah.
And I don't know if he's Lomachenko anymore, but he's definitely still that motherfucker.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it'll be an interesting fight because of the names. I mean, Gervonta, I don't think he's losing that, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But it's not gonna be a landslide. I'll tell you that.
No walk off, no easy fight.
No,
it's not Frank Martin. Martin, I feel like Frank Martin bit off more than he could chew, respectfully. And I don't think that he's a bad boxer.
No.
Because to say that is bullshit. That's not true at all.
That
they
was his
would've got it.
last fight, right?
Yeah.
So in that last fight with Frank, I think he did pretty good, against Gervonta. I do think that he wasn't ready for that fight. Definitely not ready for that fight.
Yeah, I feel like the moment was too big for him in that respect.
Canelo Mayweather at that time.
Yeah. And I feel like Frank has the ability to come back from this and do things differently and get better at it, because that's kind of part of the game. You either learn from your losses, become a better version of it, or you stay the same and you just keep getting your ass whooped.
Yeah.
And then you quit. You're done. But I don't think Frank Martin is that kind of fighter. He doesn't seem like a quitter. He don't seem like a punk-ass person.
He seems
like a tough person. Yeah, and he did get a few punches in there that I didn't think he was going to be able to land. Mm-hmm. And the thing, though, I think it got in his head because they had sparred previously.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't know that till after the fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I feel like that he knew what Gervonta could do, and that definitely influenced the fight a little bit. But I think Frank, he looked good in the fight. I just think it was too early in his career for that type of fight.
Yeah, same. I think the moment's too big for him.
Yep.
But we got it up here. Our boy Hayes Capone.
Oh, that's me.
On IG. Said, I wonder what Cam Mace and Jay Prince got to say about this, because I think it was them that said that I think to some degree they were trying to rally behind Shakur and try to make it seem like Gervonta was like avoiding him or afraid of him. Something to that effect, and I had to look at them and go, like, I know you've never fought before, but shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I know you've never sparred. I know you've never trained.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Respectfully, because I love Cam and Mace.
Yeah.
Cam was one of my favorite rappers when I was growing up, and Mace was like a hard dude, had great lyrics.
Yeah.
Jay Prince, I don't know who he is. Don't care.
So it's funny you say that, because he's lost a whole lot of respect. So Jay Prince is... might be some of the reason why Drake is who he is, to the point that Kendrick's song Cannot Be Played, like They Not Like Us, kind of got banned in Atlanta. Not Atlanta, Houston, I should say, sorry. So it's, he's an OG.
Okay. Yeah, I still don't know who you are, sir. But respectfully, to say that Tank Davis is afraid to fight Shakur, boring ass, suck my dick.
He's not. He's not afraid to fight him. Gervonta's definitely not afraid to fight him. But again, it goes to show you that Shakur doesn't realize who's in his corner. He's got Jay Prince in his corner, and he's got Crawford in the corner. And like he doesn't. But that's probably the reason why he's so spoiled, because he thinks he's backed up pretty well. But
that could be something too. I mean, for me to think that Tank is, I don't know. Tank is the new face of boxing. The only other person, if he moves up, is Inoue. That's the only other guy I can see fighting Tank that like would actually give him trouble besides Loma, because Inoue is a lot smaller, but he only fights in Japan. That's the downside. His market reach is really small.
Yeah.
But then the fights that you have seen of Inoue, holy shit! Now that's a motherfucker that could fight.
It might be because I'm a fight fan, but I didn't realize that till right now that you said that his market is very small.
Mm-hmm. It's only Japan. He only fights in Japan. I haven't seen him fight outside of Asia in like maybe 6 years, maybe 5.
Wow.
I think it was the only time that he did it, and then after that, I haven't seen him outside of that country ever. And I mean, again, if you're the biggest star in Japan, stay in Japan, sure, but it's almost like he kind of made himself big fish in a small pond. And his division, there really aren't a lot of guys that crack hard like him. I think the Puerto Rican cat he fought recently, he had a good punch and like he knocked him down. But then we found out what Inoue was made of, because he got knocked down and immediately got up and was like, "All right, motherfucker." Back.
Brought the war right back.
You know, the thing that I've heard too is that pissing Inoue off is like the worst thing you could do. It's like he fights a different level of anger when he gets that pissed off. So, when Rings Magazine named him Fighter of the Year, I was a little shocked. And they put him on the cover, by the way, of Rings Magazine in anime style. So I was like, oh, shit, they're really
Super
behind
Saiyan?
him. Yeah, Super Saiyan Inoue over here, the monster. Bro, I mean, they had him in like the full Ippo no Ippo, whatever the fuck the name of the show is, the boxing anime.
Yep.
Yeah, Himo no Jippo, some shit like that. Jimo no
Close,
Hippo,
yeah.
whatever the fuck that's listen, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I just see that this shit is on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
But to see him get the respect and love he's getting from the fans, there's a reason for it. And I think the fact that people want to pretend like there's no reason or not no reason, but almost like there's nothing behind that, like there's no substance to it. It's almost like they're trying to say that it's counterfeit. You know, it's image without substance. There can't be. You're gonna get exposed. And he got hit and got dropped.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He got up and said, "All right, motherfucker, let's fight that." And homeboy didn't want no fucking part of it.
Yep. He got exposed, and then he showed us what he can do.
Right. They put him out like a nerve, and he said, "I ain't a bitch." What up? So he went out there. But I think for me, if Gervonta fights Shakur, and the thing again, shout out to In the Ring by Christine, Women Crushing It Wednesdays. For those of you who don't watch it yet, make sure to watch. These 3 women are super educated in the boxing world. They have connections. They know the fighters, camps. They know all of it. They were the first ones to announce that Berlanga was fighting, not Miguel Cotto. My God, Lord forgive me. Miguel Cotto was a topic of conversation on the show. Berlanga is going to be fighting Canelo next. So Puerto Rico versus Mexico always makes a lot of money, but people are pissed because they wanted to fight, Benavidez. Not happening. But these women were also discussing how Shakur's team says that he doesn't show off nearly 40% of what he can actually do. So we haven't even seen Shakur at 40% in the ring. In the fucking training room, he's destroying people. But I like to quote Floyd Mayweather on this one. We may train the same under the gym, but we don't know fight the same fight under the bright lights.
Yep.
That's where I think it's a big difference. I think psychologically,
it is psychological.
Shakur has no reason not to compete at that level where he's going for finishes. He doesn't go for a fucking finish. He's good with dominating you throughout the rounds, which should be good enough. But it's so boring to watch that you're almost like, what the fuck am I paying for?
Because he's not taking a risk. Listen, shout out to my son, Lucas. I'm going to tell you why I say this. He can dance, but he only dance in the house. The boy's got moves. He won't do it out in public. But so you tell him to dance, he'll do a few little, easy steps and this and that. He won't take any risk because he's afraid to mess up a move or, the people are going to laugh at him. Shakur, fight the fight because it's getting boring. Like, we need him to fight. He has to break that. Mm-hmm. It's psychological. It really is.
And when he did that retirement thing, I'm going to be honest, it did not affect anyone. No, I don't feel like any of us gave a fuck. We were like, oh, you're going to quit already?
Yeah,
cool.
Okay, good.
Whatever. Deuces. Another name in the book that we can throw out. Another one bites the dust.
Yep.
But yeah, if he shows up against Gervonta, it could be a good fight. But this is the only fight where no one's going to go to sleep with Shakur fighting. And it's not because of Shakur. It's because Gervonta does not allow bullshit. You are fighting a tactician.
Yeah.
You are fighting a guy who's a true killer. You are fighting a guy that sparred Devin Haney off of no camp, fat as fuck, drunk, hungover, coming off a plane, and beat the shit out of Devin Haney in the gym.
Yeah.
So that guy's not a fucking slouch. That guy's not going to allow anything to stop him. Gervonta does not give a fuck, and he understands it. Time is like this right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got another 8 years if he's lucky. Retires at 40, done, hangs up the gloves, has made all the money in the world. And I think he is, within the next year, going to be the face of boxing. Him, Bud Crawford, and Inoue, I think, are going to be the top 3 guys. I feel like Canelo's at the end of his career. And I say that respectfully. I think Canelo's a phenomenal boxer, but he had the option to fight Terrence Crawford, what's my man's name? David Benavidez, the monster.
Yep.
And I don't remember who the third one is, but there was another prospect that they had for him. He chose to fight Edgar Berlanga. Respectfully, Edgar Berlanga, young Puerto Rican fighter, coming up, 28, 29 years old, youngin', but who the fuck has Edgar Berlanga fought that you would want him to fight against the Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I think that, he chose to fight him, and like you said, who has he fought where gives him the credit to fight Canelo, right? Mm-hmm. One thing I will say about Canelo is that it was interesting to see him fight some good fighters. He has some losses. He adapted to after Mayweather's fight. I thought that was going to be like the downside of it. Mm-hmm. He was going to start losing after that, and still he kept winning after that. So yeah, I think you're right. It's the downfall of Canelo. I think Canelo is done, not because he can't fight anymore. It's just, who else are you going to fight?
Yeah, that's the thing. They want Benavidez really hard, but Benavidez is much younger, much bigger, and Dimitri Bivol, who Canelo lost to. Bivol is a harder fight, in my opinion, than Benavidez, because Benavidez fought at light heavyweight, made his debut, and struggled. Struggled against a decent Ukrainian fighter.
Yeah.
Maybe a C-plus fighter. Benavidez is at his worst a B-plus fighter. He's a phenomenal fucking fighter.
Yeah, he is. He is.
But my thing, too, also, I think Canelo should have fought Benavidez on that card. And I think right under them, Berlanga should have fought Caleb Plant. Because Caleb Plant called him out. He like, was in his face talking shit. And Berlanga looked it didn't look good for him. He was a little stuttery. He was a little nervous. I think he should have taken that fight. And I think if he knocks Caleb Plant the fuck out, then he gets the Canelo fight. That's the fight that Canelo should have retired on. But, you know, God works in mysterious ways, and we're not going to get that fight. We're going to get Berlanga versus Canelo Alvarez. I believe the undercard, Erislandy Lara's fighting. I forget who he's fighting, but I know he's fighting like a top talent. We're yet to see what's going to happen with all of it. And then I believe Errol Spence Jr. is going to be fighting soon, but he may have re-injured himself again.
Oh, wow.
So that's to be determined, man. It's just, I don't know, man. Boxing was doing so well. 2023 was boxing's year. I feel like MMA was good, but boxing had higher marquee fights. Yeah, like the marquee fights in 2023 for boxing were among the best. That Crawford fight with Spence.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Fireworks.
I don't think there's ever going to be another boxing event of that magnitude. And I think we could have got it with Canelo versus, Benavidez. But again, if I'm Canelo Alvarez, what's the benefit of fighting a young David Benavidez?
It might be none. I mean, shout out to Mexico. They've birthed a lot of good fighters. I don't know. Maybe it's his Chavez moment where he just keeps fighting until he can't fight anymore.
Yeah, so the wheels fall off. And there's nothing left. I don't think he should, and I hope he doesn't. He doesn't seem like it because he has so many businesses on the side.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
No, it was great.
With Canelo having so many businesses, being one of 9 kids, you know what I'm saying? And then out of the 7 boys in the family, all 7 of them box professionally.
Wow. Yeah.
His older brothers were the first ones. He came in. I think he might be the baby out of the boys. So, now he has his another daughter, and then he has his first one from his first marriage. No, he has a daughter and a son from this marriage. And then I believe he has a daughter from another marriage. And his son, Canelo Jr., wants to box too. So he might just be like, you know what? Let me end this with my money. And we're kind of hoping that the Saudi money comes through. You know what I'm saying? We're hoping that Saudi money provokes him and Crawford to fight. That's really the only fight I want to see.
Arab money.
Yeah, at 160, maybe 168. But that's a big ask for Crawford. Crawford is a strong, strong dude. But he's not the biggest guy. And he fights, I think, at 54 right now. Or 47.
Yeah, it's a change.
That's a lot of weight. That's 2 weight classes to jump up. And I feel like that's kind of unfair. Yeah. Yeah, jump up for him. And then for Canelo, it's 1 jump down. But, it has to be for the right money, like he said. And Canelo's right. Right now, chase the bag. And everybody's saying, well, Canelo's not chasing the bag. Yes, the fuck he is. He is in the apex of his career. He's at the end of his career. He has fought everyone that you said he wouldn't fight. He knocked out Kovalev at light heavyweight. He fought Dimitri Bivol, I think, twice at light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. And there are people that are so fucking afraid of Dimitri Bivol that they won't say it out loud, but it's kind of known that the European cat is the killer. Because my boy from Texas, Samuel Clarkson, shout out to the main event, and also my condolences to you and your family for your loss. Very sorry about the loss of your sister recently. God bless you. But he fought Samuel. Samuel main event Clarkson, B-plus fighter in my opinion, at his best. When he shows up and he's himself the whole way, that fight, there were a few technical issues. Somebody that was in his corner for the fight had no business being in that fucking corner, was jumping up and giving him instructions and shouting at him. Shouldn't be doing that. The head coach.
That throws it off.
Yeah, the head coach, Jaciel Lopez, should have been the only fucking voice that should have been, in that corner at that time. But that was a fuck up. Second mistake, he was turning when Bivol was punching him, so it was landing in the back of the head. And no time to call it. It's live. It's action. You're kind of going in between there. But Samuel is a huge dude, and Samuel didn't look that big in that fight. Now, I've seen Samuel Clarkson up front in person. He's massive. He's a big fucking guy. If you stand in front of that guy and you trade punches with him, you're going to sleep. And that's just the facts. Dimitri Bivol stood in front of him and took the best shot and looked at him like, okay, was that it?
That's scary.
That's fucking terrifying. Canelo went up and fought that guy twice. Lost to him, but didn't get knocked out by him. There are guys bigger than Canelo can't even fucking hold their own weight with that guy.
And I just feel like that it was an interesting fight, honestly, because he kept coming, but it was like patient, you know? And Canelo still was kind of flashy with it. He was doing his thing, and he just kept coming at Canelo. Like,
yeah. It was like the pressure was there.
Yeah.
And not even the pressure of the punches, which people get confused.
No, it wasn't an attack. It was just
in his face.
Yep.
That shit tires you.
It does. And you could see Canelo was trying it all his, you know, he couldn't do it. I feel like, yeah, even some of the counter punches was surprising on that. I was like, whoa, because Canelo himself is a counter puncher, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely where he extends. I think after the Floyd Mayweather fight, his head movement got fucking phenomenal.
That's
it's
taught
hard
him.
to hit him.
So did he really lose that fight when you think about it? He gained so much experience after that. I feel that the only error in that fight was just that they threw Mayweather at him at too young of an age. It would have been a better fight a little later. However, I don't think Mayweather would have took that fight, though, just to be honest.
Yeah, because Floyd took Manny Pacquiao, like 5 fucking years later than it should have been. And that was fucking tragic. And I think that's what I like about Gervonta. He's not doing that.
No, he's facing you name it, he'll take it. Yeah. I think that's the difference between him and Mayweather. Mayweather's trying to get in his head. I don't know what the fuck Mayweather's problem is, but
yeah, they had some beef. From what I know, a few people from that camp have told me that the beef between Gervonta and Floyd is that Floyd is a control freak.
Yeah.
Well, you could tell. But he's a super control freak. Like, he wants to engineer every little part of every little thing. And Gervonta doesn't take shit from anybody.
No.
Supposedly,
He doesn't have to.
When Tank first got to Vegas, he took one of Floyd's Mercedes. He let him borrow the Mercedes. And Floyd said some shit that he didn't like, so he took the Mercedes and drove from Vegas all the way to Miami in Floyd's car. And just had like a weekend, was like, go fuck yourself, Tank. And was chilling in Miami, doing his own, and then they called him back. Yo, bring the truck back. He's going to sue you. He's going to get you arrested, nigga. Stop playing. Blah, blah, blah. So he came back. They fixed it. So I feel like it's almost like big brother, little brother thing. Yeah. They kind of argue it out. And I think that's really what it is. I feel like it's two brothers scuffling as always. Same thing with Adrian Broner.
Yeah.
Same thing with Floyd and 50 Cent. Those two always, it's like a big brother, little brother thing. They butt heads.
Yeah.
Then they fuck off, and then they come back and like, all right, cool, my bad.
Yeah.
I was bugging. Because you know 50's petty as fuck.
Oh, yeah. He's King Petty.
The king of the pettiest.
It's funny you say 50. I mean, I was thinking back the other day to the 50, just really quick, where if 50 was on a social media pettiness path, like he's hilarious, right? But he's been doing this since before social media was really a thing, you know? Like, yeah, we had MySpace and all that, but, you know, if they had social media back then, 50 would be out this world with that. Anyway, sorry, sidetracked. But yeah, I think that Gervonta is going to be great in this fight. I think Canelo is at the end of his fights. And that's pretty much it. Shakur, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, you ain't got too much time, my man. Like, you're still young, but like you got to do it now before people lose interest. And then, because you know it's weird. You got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
But you can't do it you can't do it too early because then it fucks you up.
Yep.
You can't do it too late because then you never catch up to it.
Nope.
Which is, I think, the thing about boxing that I don't like. Boxing fans will see you lose a single fight, and then you're bummed. You're the worst fighter. It wasn't really that good, which I fucking hate. I can't stand it because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but that's the way the sport is, and I think that his chances now. I mean, we're talking about him now, so you're a hot topic. Your boxing performance sucks. You need to make that better, like now.
yeah, before people forget your name. Don't be like Bilal Muhammad. You know, no one remembers his name like that. What's his name again?
Be missing like Bilal.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So, I mean, if that fight does materialize, who do you have, Gervonta or Shakur?
I want to say Gervonta because it's going to be the first time that Shakur will step out of his shell because he's going to have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's going to be the first time he takes a risk. However, I don't know about you in the combat sports, but I know whenever I was in a match, whether it was boxing or wrestling, I know that I would fight better when I was a little scared in a sense, because I was just worried about if I'm going to get tagged or not, but I would want to be the first to tag, just whatever. You know what I mean, but I still think that Gervonta has the experience and he's going to be the more comfortable fighter. So I do think that Gervonta would take this. He knows how to put the pressure. He also knows how to counter. He can be patient and he can attack. So it's going to be new for Shakur. This is going to be a walk in the park for Gervonta.
I think so, too. I think Gervonta gets him on 8. And I think respectfully, I think he's going to measure Shakur the first 3 rounds like he did with Frank. Kind of give him that false confidence, like, okay, yeah, you can hit me, but then what?
Yeah.
What's next?
And that's why Frank got his punches in. We were sitting here watching this, and we're like, whoa! And then we was like, fucking Gervonta. We should have known this is what he was doing. He was just studying.
Yeah. And then that's something that we were watching it too, me and Cousin Ken. We were sitting there, and he's like, why is he letting him hit him? I'm like, because Tank and him sparred. Frank hit him with his left hand. He calls it the brick hand. It's a powerful punch. But what happens if you hit me with your best punch and it don't do shit?
Yeah.
How much does it demoralize you? How much does your brain go, oh my God, I can't beat this person? Because, even if you've sparred someone, I sparred someone I didn't like, and I hit him with my best shot, and that motherfucker kept coming forward, it would really have me shook. I'd be like, yo, what the fuck? I know I hit hard. What the fuck are you on right now?
Yeah.
To be able to walk around like that. So that's the thing that a lot of people forgot. Frank Martin physically is unmatched. I think he's one of the greatest athletes ever. Athletically built, super fast, super strong, super hungry, right? Where does he lack? Experience.
Yeah.
And mentally, he's not at that level yet. He's not elite. I think he is right between he's under the elite fighters and slightly above the good fighters. I think he's like right in between that little
sweet spot.
Right before you pass through the threshold to become great.
I wouldn't call him a filler. You know what I mean? He's definitely a fighter. It's a fight. But he's got a little bit of time on his side, so let's see what happens with that.
He's still super young and can still come back. Like, you know what it is too? I also like the way that Tank has been lately. It's not been a lot of like talking to be nasty or rude.
No.
He's been honest. Oh, you know what? I was nervous about XYZ. I'm nervous about this and that. I was relieved when this happened. Like, we're seeing emotional maturity from him too.
Yeah.
So I think that stepped him up a bit. And in the Ryan Garcia situation, like, another fucking demon that we're not even going to go over because this fucking kid.
Continue.
Right. That's what the fuck I felt like too. I was like, this fucking guy, bro. But even in the Ryan Garcia thing, when Ryan was just acting out and when he fought Devin and they found out about it, it was great to see Gervonta step up and be like, wait a minute, y'all talking shit now. But when it happened, y'all was riding this nigga's dick. I'm going to keep it a buck. I done sparred him and I done fought the other dude and the other dude is better than he is. Because Devin Haney and his dad, they have like, I don't know if it's like, what's the word? I feel like their egos are so fucking like inflated, and anything that's not about them or around them bothers them.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it was kind of like on that level as well.
Yeah,
it's I guess an athletic, self-centered situation. I don't know what to call it, but
right. But it doesn't come off well for your brand. No. It doesn't come off well for your legacy. It doesn't come off well for any. When he told Floyd Mayweather on a video call, "You 50-0 in the ring, but I'm 50-0 in these streets," I had to look at myself and not die laughing. I was like,
that was
God,
weird. Where the
please,
fuck
God,
you coming from with that?
Don't make me cry right now from the type of fucking laugh I have. How are you gonna say that to Floyd Money Mayweather, Mr. Haney? You are old enough to be my father. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you well?
That was wild. Maybe he was trying to go viral. Who knows what he was trying to do? But that
Yeah.
was definitely a weird comeback.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to say to one of the best boxers to ever live.
Yeah.
But, we have so much that could be going on. UFC 304 is tomorrow.
Yep.
This episode will air same day as UFC 304. So you'll see our picks. Hayes Capone, thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you.
The king of the tall 5'7s.
That's me.
Your Royal Highness. And your boy DAM. Grateful to have you again here in the room with us. Thank you for your curiosity. Thank you for your time. And keep your peace.
Thank you.
We outie. In the cave.
Deuces.